All right. We are back. All right, so I had to fix that whole blurry situation. That was not part of the plan at all. So, waiting for some people to come back in so we can discuss double or nothing because whew, it's a lot to talk about, man. We gotta breathe a little bit. Gotta breathe. Gotta ingest all the things that we have ingested over the course of the weekend. So, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing exceptionally well because, man, we got a lot. we got a lot. We got a lot to discuss, man. I mean, it won't take all night to do. I would definitely say that. It won't take all night to do, but we definitely gonna be jumping into some matches. But yo, AEW Double or Nothing. Man, just let me know what you thought about it. If you actually ordered the pay-per-view, or if you just heard some things, or you just looked at Twitter. But we definitely gonna look into AEW Double or Nothing, and we damn sure gonna look into WWE Night of Champions that took place this yesterday, actually. Well, actually the day before yesterday, because it's midnight Eastern time. I'm not even gonna lie to you. AEW Double or Nothing had me worried just a little bit in the beginning because I don't know what it is about Las Vegas crowds, but Las Vegas crowds aren't the best. It's certain wrestling areas that just not as good in certain spaces than others. But man, all right, let's run the tape here, man. Let's run the tape. AEW started off with the Blackjack Battle Royal, which was the main show, which, if you really been paying attention, Orange Cassidy have been opening shows damn near every single week. On Dynamite, he's been the opener, and he's been working his ass off with this international title. And he's doing exceptionally well because people wanted the gold around his waist and all that stuff, right? So, the Blackjack Battle Royal, that Battle Royal was a little bit longer than I would want it to be. And for some reason, I feel like the crowd wasn't as into it up until the end with him and Swerve Strickland and the way he won. Now, I was looking for someone else to come out. I was looking for Miro. There was no rumors on Miro or anything like that, but I was just looking, So, I mean, not really much to this match. It had its entertaining moments. It was some times where, it was a little rehearsed, if that's the choice of words I would use, but the right guy went over. Orange Cassidy is the workhorse. I looked on Twitter and people was talking about, oh man, he shouldn't have won and everything else in between, but yes, he should have. Like, I mean, somebody, it needs to be someone significant to beat. Not saying Swerve is not significant or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, someone that we haven't seen in a while. Like, somebody like Miro. Miro is definitely the perfect person for that, right? So, not much to this match, honestly. Orange Cassidy did what he had to do. He's the workhorse. I mean, I feel like in many ways that international title is like the IC title, which I'm definitely going to touch on that, by the way, with Gunther and Night of Champions. But moving on, Chris Jericho and Adam Cole with Sabu being the special enforcer. It was a good match. I'm not even going to lie to you. But again, the crowd, the Las Vegas crowd, man, because if you're looking at a wrestling show, you listen to the crowd too, right? So if the crowd is hyped, then somehow, some way it resonates with you as the watcher looking at the pay-per-view, right? So I feel like the Adam Cole, Chris Jericho match didn't go off the way it should have, because you got two superior athletes. You got Chris Jericho, which is the GOAT. You got Adam Cole, baby. I mean, someone of their caliber, the crowd should have been more energetic for. Now, and the match wasn't bad at all. I feel like if it didn't start, I mean, obviously you got the pop with Sabu throwing the chair, doing a dive on the table and stuff like that. I mean, typical Sabu fashion. I mean, obviously Sabu is Sabu. I mean, you're gonna cheer for Sabu. I mean, ECW days, it was what it was. So, um, it was a weird. Now, here's the thing that kind of got me a little confused. The thing that got me confused is the ending of the match. This was an unsanctioned match, right? So, it being an unsanctioned match, why is there a match stoppage? That means this match is not sanctioned by AEW, correct? So when you have an unsanctioned match, that means you're not responsible for whatever takes place in this said match. All you got is a referee at this point. So it was definitely a weird ending. I don't know if it maybe was a legitimate injury that took place. Maybe that could be the case, because we've seen some weird endings before with any wrestling company. And the reason it ends weird is because something went wrong during the match. But it was definitely a weird ending for that unsanctioned match. I don't think that was the right choice. If it wasn't a legit injury somewhere, I don't think it was the right choice to have that match end the way it did, considering you got Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. I wouldn't do a match stoppage for an unsanctioned match. Wouldn't be my choice. Just saying. But here's the thing. The next matchup, FTR against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Say what you want about Jeff Jarrett and how he can't draw a dime and blah, 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 blah. But let me tell you something. He can damn sure get a reaction out of a crowd. Him and his wife. Because when Aubrey got smacked with that guitar, the crowd went stupid. Like, I mean, they were like, fuck you, Karens, all over the place. Like, it was like a popular thing to say. There's a hashtag, F you, Karen. Like, that got the crowd into it. Like, I think that would cause the spark in the Las Vegas crowd. FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Now, and shout out to Karen. Like, Karen really got the reaction out the crowd that I was looking for. I think everybody else that was on Twitter was like, man, this crowd is kind of weak. But I mean, the right people went over. FTR, obviously, they just won the tag team title. So, I mean, if you thought otherwise or some shock factor with that, I mean, I wouldn't mind that either. A lot of people just really want Jay Lethal to have the title around some type of gold around his waist. And I think that time will come. But, I mean, it's FTR. And it was a good story. And it was an okay story going in. And, I mean, I'm always gonna love seeing FTR on TV. That's just what it is. So the next matchup. Now, hold on. Let me take a pause. Let me rewind. Let me rewind a little bit. So I have to address some of the Twitter people. There was this picture that was circling around with Orange Cassidy holding up the international title, and behind him were some empty seats, right? And people on Twitter like going crazy, like, yo, I guess them burgers and fries wasn't enough, and this, that, the third. I was like, are you an idiot? Like, do you know that's the hard camera side, right? With the hard camera side, you're not gonna have anybody sitting in that little section where those cameras are shooting. Like we've been to wrestling shows. Like, let's not pretend like, oh, well, they couldn't sell no tickets and this, that, and the third. They sold 11,000, by the way. And that goes for a WWE crowd. That goes for an Impact Wrestling crowd. That goes for any wrestling crowd. Like how do you getting your rocks off of just posting empty seats just to prove a point? Like, what point are you trying to prove by saying, oh, well, AEW ain't shit? Like, I mean, if you were smart, that's the hard camera side. Nobody's going to sit there in the hard camera side. We all been to wrestling shows before. And you know, if you're at an arena, there's a section that no one can sit at because cameras are shooting there. There's a clock there and everything else in between. So I don't see, I hate those type of wrestling fans, especially on Twitter. Like, I went off on them like crazy. But anyway, moving on to Wardlow versus Christian. I'm gonna tell you something. Christian is a veteran through and through. Wardlow looked phenomenal in that match. The high point obviously is the swanton off the very top of the ladder. Very top of the ladder. And Arn Anderson taking a bite out of crime. Like, listen, I don't know what Arn Anderson is on, but he's on some other shit. All right, like I think he bit Luchasaurus' thumb off. Like, he was bleeding out the mouth. He looked like a zombie, as my Tony Schiavone said. I mean, he was bleeding out the mouth, all kinds of stuff. Like, it was an entertaining match, man. Arn Anderson is a loose cannon, man. He must be stopped. He must be stopped. That man. Otherwise, that was a very interesting match. The right guy won, because I feel like if Wardlow would have lost that match, he would have lost the TNT title again. Then I don't know how I would feel about that, honestly. I'm like, what are you trying to do with Wardlow? Are you trying to push this man to the limit? Like, he cannot lose the TNT title right now. He can't do that. Like, don't do that. That's why I'm a little afraid that they're going to put Miro over to the TNT side, considering how long Miro has held that title and how he covets that title. I don't want Miro and Wardlow in the same space right now, because Wardlow is in momentum mode and he's with Arn Anderson, and just let him have a little run with that TNT title. Just let him go. Just let him go. Put Miro over there with the international title. Let that ride out. Let that go. So the next matchup is Jamie Hayter, very interesting, and Tony Storm. I'm not mad at the results of that. I'm not mad at the results. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to you, Kenny. Willie, he's talking about where's Stone Cold. Wrong wrestling company, my guy. Wrong wrestling company. Wrong wrestling company. But yeah, Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm, that match was actually pretty good. And the shocking thing to me was that Tony Storm beats Jamie Hayter for the AEW women's title. But that was the right decision too, because if you got the Outcast with Ruby Soho and Soraya, and Tony, somebody has to win that women's world title to solidify them as the outsiders. Like, you got to have the title on them. And I think that was the right call to put the title on Tony Storm, because she had a tumultuous title run. Like, she was the interim champion when Thunder Rosa was out. Like, she didn't get the respect that she deserved on her first title run. So with this title run that she has, I feel like you can right this wrong, and you can just have people chase after her for this AEW women's title. Now, going through that, where does that put Jamie Hayter? Where does that put Britt Baker? Where does that put, Hikaru Shida? Where does that put Nyla Rose? Another name that we haven't heard in a long time. Where does that put Thunder Rosa? Because we haven't heard that name. We heard that name in a while, and maybe I'm hearing that she's maybe coming back. Will she come back as a heel? Will she come back as a face? I don't know. But I feel like with that particular match, the right person won. The heel should have went over, and that was Tony Storm, man. And it was an entertaining match, and the crowd was actually into it as far as everything that was going on. Really, really, really cool match. I really do like that match. Next up is the House of Black with that open challenge, and it was the Acclaim. Now, the entertaining part was Max Caster dropping dimes. Like, he's dropping heat on Buddy Matthews, and he was like, yo, you getting cut by this dude named Dominic, which was a jab at Buddy, because Buddy in real life is dating Rhea Ripley, and then Dominic Mysterio. So that was actually a pretty cool deal. Very, very good match. The House of Black retained those trios titles, rightfully so. It definitely did that, and I don't know what is in the cards for the House of Black. I don't know who's willing to face the House of Black and who can legitimately beat them. The first three people I'm thinking comes to mind is the Butcher and the Blade, and you get a third person there because you got the Bunny, you got her. So all you need is a third person, and you got yourself a man-made feud right there. But don't pull the trigger on that yet. Just let the House of Black have a lengthy run, and then just keep on going for there. And to back up with the Outcast, don't break them up because of that AEW Women's World title. Don't do that either. Don't do that either. So again, overall, it was a good match. So going over Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie. Now, Jade Cargill is 59-0. Let's talk about these entrances right quick. You understand? Let's talk about these entrances. Taya Valkyrie with the Vegas entrance, and Jade Cargill with the Alpha Kappa Alpha entrance. Now, those of you that may not know, that Jade Cargill is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So she came out strolling, and there was some people on Twitter that, you know, that didn't understand it. So of course I had to educate them, like, listen, this is an African American sorority. Please don't be ignorant. Don't talk any further, because you will get flamed. You will get flamed. Because, hey, there are black Greeks in wrestling, you know. Just saying. But the match, yo, let me tell you, the crowd was in this match. Like, this was probably the best match Jade Cargill has had. And you can tell each match he has, it was steady progression. It was like better match, better match, better match. It was like just a stepping stone. And this woman went 60-0. Like undefeated in 60 matches. And it's been the first and only, at that point in time, TBS champion. That says a lot about Jade Cargill. She is money. She is AEW money. And I feel like, of course, there's going to be some type of feud, some type of retaliation of what's going on for what's next. Because some people was thinking Taya Valkyrie was going to get that dub. Nah, I didn't think she was going to get that dub. That was the best match Jade Cargill has had, in my opinion. And the right person went over. Now, the funny thing about it, though, when Smart Mark Sterling went on the mic and said there's nobody left for Jade Cargill, you see, finally you get Chris Statlander out there, which... honestly, I think Chris Statlander was supposed to be the person to get this dub way back in the beginning before this injury prolonged this. So I think Jade was just running through people until Chris got healthy again. And then Chris jumps in. It's almost like a Money in the Bank situation, because it was a cash in a way, but it was an open challenge. Like, Jade was like, listen, you can send somebody else out here. I can fight him again. Because he done this before and won. But you got Chris Statlander. I know you wasn't trying to, you wasn't going to try to sleep on her. So Chris Statlander beats Jade Cargill. And it's almost, I can't compare that to The Undertaker, but 60-0 run, then you finally get that 1-2-3 at Double or Nothing. That's a lot right there. Chris Statlander is your new TBS champion. And I'm very excited to see what she does with that TBS championship, and hopefully she has a significant run with the TBS championship as well. Hopefully we see Jade Cargill go pursue the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm not sure how that's going to play out right now, because you got the Outcast versus Hayter, Saraya, Hikaru Shida. I don't know how that's going to play out, but that's an interesting development now that Jade Cargill no longer has gold around her waist. So I feel like it's going to be a very interesting development. There's a lot of moving parts here. Now, the next match up, which I have to give a shout out to Jade and Taya, and I have to give shout out to FTR, because FTR really got the crowd going. Jade and every match in between kept the crowd in, but Jade and Taya actually brought the crowd back into it, and it was spot on. AEW became AEW starting with FTR, because, not discrediting the first two matches that was on the card, it just that somehow, some way, the crowd wasn't into it as much, because it's a Las Vegas crowd. Just like people say that Las Vegas is not really a sports city, like football fans, basketball fans, and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to pull them, and that's what it is. It was nothing on AEW as a roster. It was, sometimes the crowd is just dead, and no matter what you do with that crowd, man, it just was bad. But Karen Jarrett and company got them back into it. So, and Jade kept their attention. Now, here was the interesting thing. It was the next matchup, and that was MJF versus Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy versus Sammy Guevara. And I was like, wait, why is this not the last match on on the card. Why is this not the main event? Because this is the AEW World Title. Because this has never happened. For one, I understand why. Because I'm gonna jump on that main event because it was a shootout. Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, MJF proved why they are the four pillars. Listen, we can all admit that build up, the mic stuff, like it was kind of hard to be vested into it. Obviously, it's MJF because of his mic skills, but you know everybody else kind of had to work on their mic skills. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but when they were in the ring talking to each other, it was like the same story every week. Even though these stories are true, it was like they were just regurgitating the stories but using different words. Like they were still getting to that certain point, but the match itself was stellar. I mean, that fatal 4-way, MJF squeaking out with that dub. That match itself is worth a rewatch. And they solidified on why they are the four pillars, man. I mean, it was good. I mean, the crowd booed a little bit when, you know, Jungle Boy had the belt and he's like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. Come on, man. Come on now. It's MJF over here. He's the champ. You better take any means necessary to get that AEW title around your waist, my guy. Because of that thought process, because of that lapse in judgment, you're not the AEW World Champion. MJF still reigns supreme. Matter of fact, MJF like played to the crowd, stuck the middle finger at him, and all kinds of things. And it was wild. It was wild. I mean, he talked to the camera and said, listen, man, give me some more competition because I ain't got it. I beat the four pillars at the same time. I beat them all. I'm MJF. I'm the best. Match was awesome. The crowd was into it. And I don't know. Maybe that Las Vegas crowd needed a shot in the arm or something. Like maybe someone like just spray some air out, some kind of special fumes, like they wake this crowd up because they were really into this match. And definitely main event caliber match. If it wasn't for this current main event, this should have been the main event. But I understand why this match wasn't a main event, which leads to the main event, Anarchy in the Arena, which was fucking bonkers. This shit was ridiculous. You understand me? Like thumbtacks, chairs, barbed wires, explosives, super kicks. John Moxley got super kicked in the face, and the sneaker exploded. Like it sparked, it fired up when he got kicked in the face. Like when I tell you, this match pulled out every single stop, like every single nook and cranny you could possibly pull out. Anarchy in the Arena lived up to the expectation. It lived up to the hype because it was a lot. It was a lot. And it was like when you thought it was over, it wasn't. Thumbtacks in the mouth, uppercut with thumbtacks in your mouth, like bare feet on thumbtacks, bleeding everywhere. Like, what? I got no other words. And betrayals. Yo, who saw that coming? Because I did not see that coming. I mean, obviously, Don Callis, he's a snake in the grass, obviously. But Konosuke Takeshita being the turncoat, he's the one who attacked Kenny Omega. He's the one who caused Kenny Omega to get pinned, which is very smart, by the way. He got pinned by Wheeler Yuta. He got pinned by the Young Gun, the Young Lion. But Konosuke Takeshita did a heel turn, and the look on his face when he looked into the camera, that hard camera shot, you know, the hard camera shot that don't allow people to sit in that area, you know what I'm saying? That area, that hard camera shot that he got. And he looked into the camera, he was like, yo. Now, this begs the question, Takeshita, did he join The Blackpool Combat Club? Like, did he join, or is he just with Don Callis? I don't know. I don't know. But this was that was the match of the night. I don't know. I could fully understand why it's the main event, because listen, shit was everywhere. Like, the band was still playing while people was fighting, because it's just like last time, right? And obviously we was like, please, can somebody shut this band up? And then Nick and Matt Jackson hit the lead singer from the band in the face, completely ends the song. Like, it was chaos. It was something for everybody. It was a train wreck, and it was no other way to have that. I mean, people gonna complain like, oh man, you shouldn't have kicked out of that. It was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. It was supposed to be a train wreck. It was supposed to be. Like, that match was not supposed to make sense. Like, in stretch of the imagination. It was a pure entertainment. And I would say, starting from the third match on to the main event, that is AEW Double or Nothing. Like again, AEW with their pay-per-views live up to the expectations, because you got to get the money's worth. If you're going to spend $50 on a pay-per-view, if you're going to spend $50 on a wrestling pay-per-view, it better deliver. You do not want people to leave there thinking, I wasted $50 and 4 hours of my time to watch trash. And AEW delivered on Double or Nothing. So 100% in it. 100% in it. And now let's go into Night of Champions. Saturday in Jeddah. I gotta admit, I did not give Night of Champions a chance, because where it was located, it was in Jeddah. Because usually when there is something in Saudi Arabia, it is a glorified house show. It's like hardly any title changes, if any. And it's Saudi Arabia's WrestleMania. You know, they want to see the big names. They want to see the Roman Reigns. They want to see the Brock Lesnar's. They want to see, you know, they just want to see the big names, right? And Night of Champions was vastly different. Vastly different. And I'm going to tell you right now, hats off to WWE and Night of Champions, because I just want to say that pay-per-view is stellar. All day, from start to finish. From the first match all the way up to the last match. So some unexpected goodness as well. Some good stuff. Now, it was my understanding that the match that started it all was AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. I had my reservations about that. However, through reports, Seth had to hurry back home because he has movie obligations. So hence why that match was the first match on the card. That's why that was the opener. I fully understand that. You know, if it wasn't for that, I feel like that should have been the main event, because if you're trying to put prestige on the World Heavyweight title, right? If you're trying to say this is not a participation trophy title, this is not a secondary title second to the WWE Universal Championship, you got to make that the main event. You got to make it ultra important. Michael Cole emphasized how important that title is, with homage to, you know, the wings and the Vince McMahon, the McMahon family crest, and, you know, different little spots on the World Heavyweight title. Honestly and truly, 5-star match. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins. I mean, it was a dream match. It was a dream come true. Like, honestly, no interference. It was just one-on-one. I mean, if you didn't think Seth Rollins wasn't going to win this match, I don't know what you was on. Have no clue what you was on. Seth Rollins was groomed to win that match. The thing that I don't understand is the fact that you had SmackDown people wrestling for a shot to win the World Heavyweight title, with that World Heavyweight title is specifically geared for Raw, where you know you got a roster of Raw people that have not been on TV in quite some time and maybe have the athleticism to make this thing competitive. That is my gripe. Because anybody, Stephen Wonder can see Seth Rollins was going to win the World Heavyweight title. The momentum that he has, he is the most popular guy on Raw. My opinion. Just saying. So, overall, match was awesome. Stellar match. Stellar match. AJ Styles continue to be phenomenal. No pun intended. He does what he does. And he's been very phenomenal in that regard. Now, the next matchup is Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. Zoe Stark. That's all I gotta say. Stark. Who would have thought? I thought that, but I mean, if you're gonna have new people come in and make an impact, Zoe Stark is the person to make that impact, and she's NXT, and she got a Hall of Famer like Trish Stratus backing her. That is a great push. That is a great look. I like the fact that Becky lost this match because I feel like if Becky would have beat Trish, it would have just been a one-off type of situation. Trish don't need the dub. And even though Trish got the dub, it wasn't about Trish. It was about Zoe. It was about the impact that Zoe Stark was going to make and what she did to Becky. So hopefully they push her correctly in this regard and see where this goes. Next match up, very surprising because I want to talk about this, and that's Gunther and Mustafa Ali. Because even with the announcers, they emphasize the fact that Mustafa don't have a snowball's chance in hell of beating Gunther. He was going to get dominated. He was going to get ransacked all over the place. It was a wrap. Mustafa Ali proved that he can actually face Gunther even though he came up short. Again, the right guy won. Gunther won. Gunther, here's my little hot take. Gunther is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of this current generation. The level of importance that Gunther is putting on this Intercontinental Championship is crazy. I haven't seen that in quite some time. Imperium, with that backing, the amount of time that he's holding that Intercontinental title, he's only third to Randy Savage and Honky Tonk Man. Like, he's doing with that Intercontinental title what he did with the UK title. It's crazy. It's crazy. You can hang it up. I mean, Gunther can be the top heel in the industry. And I think that's what he's being pushed as. Literally, what he's doing with the Intercontinental title, he can main event a pay-per-view. I'm not saying he got potential to main event it. He can main event a pay-per-view with that Intercontinental title on the line against whoever, and I'm telling you, he will bring the house down. Someone of his size, someone that is that athletic, is nuts. Gunther is definitely the best Intercontinental Champion of this current generation, man, because he's on TV. I'm glued in. He's gonna do something that grab your attention. Like, straight out the gate. Gunther is definitely him. He is him. And he's going to hold, I feel like he needs to hold that Intercontinental title as long as he can. And the one person I want to beat Gunther is Dragunov. If y'all remember Dragunov, some of you that have watched NXT Battleground, this man ran through a table tonight. Ran through a table. And he has been the one to beat Gunther, formerly Walter. He's the one who beat him. But not everyone watches NXT. NXT, what's a way to say it? The shell of itself. It's not the NXT black and gold like we used to watching, where they were selling out arenas and they sometimes was better than the main roster shows. That's not the same NXT. Not the same NXT. So Dragunov, he has to rebuild. Like, when he goes to the main roster, it's a no-brainer he has to rebuild. If I had to pencil, here's what I would do. If I had to pencil, I will have Dragunov join Imperium. Have him be the fourth man. Have him be in singles matches and see how dominant this man is. And eventually, you cause that rift within Imperium where finally Gunther goes up against Dragunov, and finally Dragunov be the one who beats him. Long-term booking, long-term storytelling. You can make that Intercontinental Championship important. And when he drops that Intercontinental Championship, guess what's next? Either the World Heavyweight Championship or the Universal Championship. Because I'm thinking once Roman drops that, it's going to be one title, but not just two. He's able to pursue either one of those. Just like Randy Savage says, I'm the Intercontinental Champion. This is my ticket to go pursue the WWE Championship. Same rule applies to Gunther, and same rule applies for anyone that follows in Gunther's footsteps, and whoever beats him. That's how the Intercontinental title should be viewed as. Straight out the gate. The level of importance is back on the Intercontinental Championship, and I'm proud of that. I mean, we talking like the Bret Harts, the Shawn Michaels, the Razor Ramones, like that level of importance. That's what I'm talking about. Randy Savages and all kinds of. I mean, it's Gunther is him all day. Gunther is that guy. So, but stellar match though between Mustafa Ali and Gunther. I mean, hats off to Mustafa Ali. I don't know what, if you was thinking Mustafa was going to beat Gunther there because where he was located. Nah, he wasn't going to do that. Wasn't going to do that. Not at all. Not at all. So, next matchup is Bianca Belair and Asuka and Kana. Okay. Right person won. Asuka, long story short, I'm glad she won. Here's my only gripe. She should have won at WrestleMania. She should have done it at WrestleMania. Call it a day. Bianca is the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion. If that was the reason you have Asuka lose at WrestleMania just because she can have that accolade, you're doing it wrong, man. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't agree with that. I love Bianca Belair. Let me put that out there. Let me put that disclaimer out there right now. I love Bianca Belair. I love what she was able to do at the Raw Women's Championship. I feel like handcuffs are on her to a certain degree because heel Bianca Belair would be very, very awesome. And a heel Bianca Belair and a heel Street Profits. Money. But of course, Bianca is a babyface and it's marketable because of the people that she inspired and stuff like that. But I do feel like she can unlock the 8 gates if she become a heel. I mean, honestly. But Asuka, yes, the right person won, and please, for the love of God, please let Asuka have a lengthy title run. Let her become the killer that she is. Let her become the old Asuka from NXT or Kana from New Japan. Like, New Japan, for Japanese. Let her be that Asuka, the one that don't care. She just faces everybody at one time. Like, listen, I'll put the title on line against the two of y'all at the same time. Like, please let Asuka be Asuka. No one is ready for Asuka now that she has the title. I mean, it was a good match through and through. I feel like the right person won, and that's what I mean. There was a significant title change, and I really did like that. Seth Rollins winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and Asuka winning the Raw Women's Championship. Now going back, well, not going forward, rather. Let's go to Rhea Ripley and Natalya. Squash match all day. Squash match all day. It was designed to be that way. You got to show dominance. You got to show dominance. Dominic being who he is, man. Like, Dominic is the most unserious wrestler ever. Dude is super entertaining, man. Especially hanging out with the Judgment Day. Especially hanging out with Rhea Ripley. Again, the right person won. All right. Right person won. Rhea Ripley is supposed to have a lengthy title run because we wanted Rhea Ripley to be that champion. You know what I'm saying? But she's a SmackDown Women's Champion, right? Why she's still hanging around running Monday Night Raw? Like, you know, get her off of that. Let her stay on SmackDown. Don't come back to Raw. You're a SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm surprised that they didn't do like the title swap situation, and that whole draft situation was trash. But either way, Rhea Ripley and Natalya squash match. It wasn't nothing else after that. No, it wasn't nothing else. It was nothing else after that. So, my next question is, what's next for Rhea? Like, who's the next person to face her? I think the person that can take the title from her would be Zelina Vega. Long-term storytelling. That's all I'm saying. Long-term storytelling. Because the pop that she had in Puerto Rico came up a little short, right? Came up a little short. But still yet, you can say, you know, I took her first L off your first title defense, and she comes back later and she finally gets that dub. Maybe at a WrestleMania. Have Rhea Ripley hold that title for like a year. Had to just go through people. Just go through them. So next matchup is Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, which is interesting. Brock needed this win. Yeah, I mean, I can't see Brock Lesnar losing 2 times in a row to Cody. Cody passing out. Cody didn't tap. You know, it kind of got the Stone Cold Steve Austin Bret Hart situation without Cody bleeding, of course. But I didn't tap out. You just made me pass out. You know, that's the only reason you won this match. Otherwise, I would have still been gone with a broken arm. So, right guy won. End the story with Brock Lesnar. I feel like there will be a third match. There's going to be a rubber match at some point. I mean, that feud is not over, unfortunately. That feud is not over. But I will say this. This is probably one of the best matches Brock Lesnar has been in, because this was a lengthy match. It felt like it was the Brock Lesnar of old. It felt like the Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania going up against Kurt Angle when he did the moonsault off the top rope. That level of athleticism, the next big thing, Brock Lesnar, that would it looked like to me. It feels like he's having the time of his life in that ring when he's going up against Cody. Even though they're telling the story, it just feels like he's having fun with this. Like, he's really having fun with this. And Cody's doing the same. So, not really much to say about that match in particular. But Brock over Cody. That's it. Now, next match. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. With Sami coming out, with his uniform, and I don't know what you got it because I don't want to mispronounce it. But he started speaking in Arabic, introducing himself and Kevin Owens, man. And the crowd went freaking nuts. Went nuts. You hear me? Very good match. But let's talk about this long-term storytelling here, man. Jimmy Uso, man. Like, bro, you gonna pie face me, Uso? And you gonna I'm gonna talk as a fan. And you gonna pie face my brother? Bro, you deserve a kick in the face for that. Like, the level of disrespect is real. Like, you disrespect me and my brother constantly. For, like, you thought it was gonna be easy. Matter of fact, it was unappreciative because, again, me talking as a fan, me talking as Jimmy and Jay, like, we does this. Like, we are a legitimate tag team. They call us the Usos. Like, we are one of the greatest tag teams in the WWE. We are the longest reigning tag team in WWE. But you want to do something with our little brother and say you're going to win the tag team titles. And you're going to pie face me. And my brother like, nah, we apologize. We're going to take it to the chin. And we try to help your ass win those tag team titles that is rightfully ours. And you push me again saying I don't belong in. We ain't the ones anymore. Bitch, please. Roman got what he deserved on that. That was long-term storytelling. Jimmy has had enough. Jey Uso been through so much shit over the past 1,000 days. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now I'm gonna talk as an analyst. This is great storytelling. But like, the Oscar has to go to Jey Uso, man. Like, this right here is iconic. Like, this facial expression he always has is iconic because it's always some wild shit that happens in front of him. And when Jimmy just kicked Roman twice in the face, like, listen, bro, I do not do this to you. I would not do this to you. I'm gonna do what you ain't gonna do. I'm gonna kick this man in the face. That's what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. And obviously, Roman took an L. He didn't get pinned. You know, Solo took that pin. But this is another layer in the story. This is something that has been building. Like, Jimmy Uso, like people call back to earlier years where Jimmy, like, I'm nobody's bitch. And he said that in front of Roman. And you see how that comes full circle. Obviously, Roman may face Jimmy, and Jimmy gonna probably get the shit beat out of him, honestly, because can't see Jimmy winning those titles. You know, I can't see that happening. He attack. If anybody, I feel like Jay is more of a singles guy in a sense, but Jimmy being put into that, and Jimmy is the smiling one. He's the one that, like, he jokes around and stuff. Like, he cool, he smiles and all this other stuff. Like, he's the one that Sammy got close to, and then eventually Jay got close to, and then the smiling stopped. Like, Roman has become this narcissistic type of character, and the bloodline has broken up. I just let the magic happen. That is the best story WWE has right now. That story makes you want to tune in on SmackDown and see what the piss is going on with the bloodline, because this is like a whole nother layer to this story. Like, over the course of 1,000 days, you got Sammy joining the bloodline. You got Sammy getting kicked out of the bloodline. Roman gonna have to learn not to turn his back on mofos. You all right? Like you ain't learned for Seth Rollins. Like, you gotta quit turning your back on people, man. You want to get murked every single time. Sammy joins the bloodline. Sammy gets kicked out of the bloodline. Sammy goes up against Roman Reigns. Sammy loses against Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens faces Roman Reigns. Before that, loses again, get the shit kicked out of him, and all this other stuff. And then the long-term booking is that Jimmy and Jay are the ones that always saves Roman out of danger when it comes to losing those titles. If it's not the Usos, it's Solo. What is our main complaint, really? When Roman retains his title, man, he wouldn't have won those titles. He wouldn't retain those titles if it weren't for interference from the Usos, typically. Now, your heart and soul of the bloodline is over with because his narcissism taking over. But I do love this long-term booking. I want to see where this goes. I'm going to tune in to SmackDown just to see what happens, because you got him. You got him. So going back to AEW, the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite, that story is not over with. It was chaos. Shit was everywhere. And I fully understand why it was the main event versus the Four Pillars match. The question is, which pay-per-view was actually better? Whew. That's a lot. Night of Champions had the edge. Night of Champions had the edge for a while. Up until I got the second half of Double or Nothing. And then it was balls to the wall from there. It was balls to the wall. but I'm gonna have to give the slight edge to Night of Champions still, because every single match on that card was actually good. Every single match. Not saying it was a bad match on AEW Double or Nothing. I think it was the crowd. I think, hold on, I gotta really think about this. I gotta really think about this. AEW Double or Nothing or Not a Champions. Overall spectrum of it. Overall spectrum. Seth Rollins had a 5-star match to start the show. The two best spots you can have, not a wrestler, the two best spots you can have on a pay-per-view is the first match or the last match. Either you're going to open the show, make people follow it, or, you know, the main event where you end it on a cap. That Roman Usos situation that's some good storytelling right there. The Blackpool Combat Club, it added another wrinkle in there. Whoa. Again, this is just opinion. You have the right to your own opinion, because honestly, at the end of the day, we as wrestling fans, we all won this weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend. It is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day is tomorrow. Oh, today rather. It was nothing but wrestling. Nothing but wrestling. AEW Double or Nothing or Not a Champions. I did choose Not a Champions. Oh, man. I'm gonna have to give it a Double or Nothing. A few key factors. Jade Cargill, Karen Jarrett, the Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, that's what it was. That's what it was. It was a couple things. It was the Four Pillars match, the main event, not what the double main event. Four Pillars match, the Blackpool Combat Club, Anarchy in the Arena, and Jade Cargill losing the TBS title, and the reveal of Konosuke Takeshita actually turning heel, and it ends on a bad note. It didn't end on no happy note. It ended on a bad note with betrayal. So for that, I got to give it a Double or Nothing. And it's not by a large margin. It's like this small. You know what I mean? Because when Double or Nothing first started, the first couple of matches, I still gave the edge to Night of Champions because of the overall spectrum. But then it just gradually got better and better and better and better, and then it capped off with questions. You got having questions. So, but let us know in the comments below. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, Orange Phoenix Media on YouTube, and I won't be doing wrestling post shows like often, but just when I do have downtime, I definitely will do the AEW and WWE pay-per-view post shows, you know, if I'm in town, obviously. But we do have some more shows coming up to you between myself and Vivo, and I cannot wait. You guys have an awesome Memorial Day weekend. Y'all stay safe out there. Hopefully y'all get some grilled food. Hopefully I get some grilled food out there. But Double or Nothing wins the weekend, and it's not by a large margin. It's like by a very small margin. We talking 0.75 margin. You know what I'm saying? 0.75, because it can easily go either way. But so until next time, y'all, peace.